Welcome YouTube, wherever we've been the last couple of months. So, new shed HQ build, complete with a whole bunch of retaining walls. Still a bunch of concreting and work to go. So at this point we're trying to keep, if we jump inside and have a look, trying to keep everything that's going to get placed in the workshop to a bit of a minimum until this gets decked out. So first thing that we need to get done, Katie's V35 SeatTime project. In the background I've got a couple of bits and pieces with a 1J that's about to go in the 180SX with the Autosports Engineering CDO9 adapter, and the wife's little K-van. Yeah, let's have a look at some of the bits and pieces we've got done on the V35, and we'll try and, again, keep these videos relatively short and update, I suppose, the V35, Matt's 1J S13 that's getting done at the moment, John's car's getting a heap of work, and a bunch of the other boys' cars are getting a heap of work. If we take a little bit of a closer look at the V35, we're putting the LS in for Katie. We've come in here, cut out most of the secondary firewall, just keeping the chassis number. Knocked up a bit of an aluminium plate here to suit a Willwood clutch master cylinder, being a 3/4 inch, which will be better suited towards the LS NPC twin plate. Right now I'm considering, I think I'm gonna maybe remove the booster and maybe go boostless just to keep the engine bay nice and clean. Thinking about running the coils remote on both this side and this side, and then running them down since I've deleted all the coil mounts off the rock covers. So I've got an underdrive, I think it's 20-25% underdriven balancer on it. It's like an Aeroflow high volume rear mount sump. At the moment I think we've got that, it's tucked up above the cross member. At the moment the rack's off, just to make it a bit easier to get the motor and box in. We'll jump underneath and have a look as well. Just having a look, so we've got at the moment the T56 bell housing bolted to another Autosports Engineering adapter plate onto a proper CDO9. If we come back, one of the GK Tech shifter relocation kits meant for a CDO9 and S13 just happens to work perfectly with a V8 in a V35 or G35. So we've got that. Right now what we're basically trying to do is the motor needs to move back about another 30 to 40 millimeters. That'll put the shifter in the middle or slightly rearward of the shifter hole. And we've also got, sitting on the ground over there, a 350Z carbon fiber tail shaft, which happens to be about 200 millimeters too short if you put it in a regular G35 or V35, but seeing as though with the LS conversion kit and the CDO9, it actually moves the gearbox back about 150 millimeters, which now makes the tail shaft pretty close to fitting. So actually if I jump down the back, probably just going to make a small adapter flange that bolts onto the diff. That'll go, because at the moment the diff's got a different flange on it to the tail shaft. So a little adapter plate that will bolt that up and take up probably the excess 40 millimeters. So a quick look inside. That gives an idea at this point, before we move the motor and gearbox back another 30 or 40 millimeters, where the shifter is going to sit. So we want to get that centered or moved back slightly. Got the motor and trans out. I'm about to probably notch the firewall here over this side. But having a quick look, the firewall at this particular spot is double skinned, so we might actually just cut that section out. So we grab a screwdriver and stick it through that hole. You can see it goes in a fair way. So probably gonna have a look, probably cut a lot of that lip off and then just fold it back and weld it back in place. So at the same point while we're at it, seeing as though we need to do a little bit of cutting and welding, just removed a couple of brackets, one there, one down there, and a bunch of these brackets and a bit of the leftover from the secondary firewall, just drilling out the spot welds. And then same on that side. And then I think I'm also going to remove this lip because the spark plug wires are going to have to come out of the motor up past this and then up to where the coil packs are going to be mounted. So I've cut out the seam, drilled out the spot welds on that side, jump over. Just need to wire wheel and clean off some of that seam sealer. And thinking at this point, I need to make a bunch of room here for where one of the cylinder heads sits, and then the motor is going to touch just here. But this entire piece, this piece, and this piece look like they come off. So we're going to remove those three pieces. This seam where we've cut it away, I could literally just run a weld this seam back up, and they'll have a nice blunt edge where the spark plug leads run across. So finish getting this cut out, we'll have a look. So started grinding down the spot welds, got that bracket removed. Just cleaned up where this seam was cut off. I'm just gonna have to weld this up later and grind it smooth. Ended up cutting out all of the secondary firewall here. And pretty much figured out that the entire wiring loom should be able to run up underneath the base of the windscreen and down this side to keep it out of the side. So beating the tunnel up a bit. Also, when cutting out the secondary firewall, cut out kind of a pocket in this area. We jump over, cut the same kind of pocket out over here. So this firewall came out about 2.5 inches, or about 60, 65 millimeters. So that's how far we should be able to get the motor back. We're gonna have to make a plate to go in there and stitch it in.